Shalom, and welcome to Hebrew Bible Secrets with your host, Rabbi Jeremy Beaton. We are reading from Mathew Chapter 2, verse 1. 1. Now when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem, house of bread, of Yehudah, in the days of Herodes, the king, behold, there came rabbin from the east of Jerusalem. 2. Saying, where is he that is born king of the Yehudim? For we have seen his star in the east, and have come to pay homage to him. 3. When Herodes the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. 4. And when he had gathered all the Kohanim and experts in the Torah together, he demanded they tell him where the Messiah would be born. 5. And they said to him, in Bethlehem, house of bread and house of meat, of Yehudah, Judah, for thus it is written by the prophet. 6. And you, Bethlehem, house of bread, in the land of Yehudah, Judah, are the least among the princes of Yehudah, for out of you shall come a shepherd that shall rule my people, Israel. 7. Then Herodes, when he had privately called the rabbis, inquired of them diligently, what time did the star appear? 8. And he sent them to Bethlehem, house of bread, and said, go and search diligently for the young child, and when you have found him, bring word to me again, that I may go and pay homage also. 9. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. 10. When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. 11. And when they had come into the house, they saw the young child with Myrrh, his mother, and fell down and paid homage to him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented to him gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. 12. And being warned of Elohim in a dream that they should not return to Herodes, they departed into their own country via a different route. 13. And when they were departed, behold, the messenger of Yahweh appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Mitzrayim, Egypt, and stay there until I tell you. For Herodes will look for the child to kill him. 14. And when he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Mitzrayim. 15. And was there until the death of Herodes, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of by Yahweh through the prophet, saying, out of Mitzrayim, Egypt, have I called my son. 16. Then Herodes, when he saw that he was tricked by the wise men, was greatly angered, and sent forth and killed all the children that were in Bethlehem, house of bread, and in all the surrounding regions, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the rabbis. 17. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken of by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, 18. In Rama was there a voice heard, weeping and loud wailing, and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and would not be comforted because they are no more. 19. But when Herodes was dead, behold, the messenger of Yahweh appeared in a dream to Joseph in Mitzrayim, Egypt. 20. Saying, Arise and take the young child and his mother and go into the land of Israel. For they are dead which sought the young child's life. 21. And he arose and took the young child and his mother and came into the land of Israel. 22. But when he heard that Archelaus did reign in Yehuda instead of his Av, his father, Herodes, he was afraid to go there. Notwithstanding, being warned of Yahweh in a dream, he turned towards the coast of Galilee. 23. And he came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophets. He shall be called a Nazari. So that ends chapter 2. So let's look at some of the footnotes in chapter 2. Right, so the first footnote we have is in verse 1. Now, when Yeshua was born in Bethlehem, house of bread, let's have a look at this house of bread. The term more correctly refers to the house of lechem, bread, and the house of meat. The word lechem can be used for food generally, but it also applies to Yahushua, who is both bread and meat, and who said, except you eat the meat of the Son of Man and drink of his blood, meaning to keep the Torah of Moses, his commandments, if not, then you have no eternal life. Therefore, we can safely conclude that the ancient meaning of Beth is both the house of bread and meat. The Palestinians today still call Bethlehem the house of meat. So there is also a reference which you can read regarding this in except you eat the meat of the Son of Man and drink his blood. So the reference is John 6:53. So you can read that, John 6:53. So let's go to the next footnote, which is Yehuda in the days of Herodes the king, behold, there came Rabbim. So let's have a look at this word Rabbim. These came from Iraq and were the disciples of Daniel the prophet, who had taught them about this person, so it is alleged. The wise ones, or Magi, were Rabbim in the east, or priests acting for the tribes in the diaspora. These were not 3 wise men, as traditionally taught, but more than likely they were 12 men representing the 12 tribes of Israel. For that you can go to Matthew 1:21. Or Matthew 1:21 is clear that he would rescue his people. So which people? These are none other than the 12 tribes of Israel. So there had to be a representative from each tribe. Here in this story, we find the visiting priests, or as the present order of today, they would be Rabbim, who were wise. The word Rab is the root word for Rabbi, which means great or big. So here the word great represents knowledge of these Rabbim, these rabbis. Daniel was the great Rabbi, or Rab, Maj, chief over the Magi, or the Magi. And these were no doubt his disciples, which you can see in Daniel 4:9. These are the people who later fled to Persia, Iran, escaping Islamism, and some crossed over to India. They were from the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, so let's have a look at the next footnote, which is verse 3, when Herodes the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. So let's have a look at this word Herodes, or Herodes. So King Herod was a half-breed, an Edomite and Yehudi. He had Jacob, the father of Joseph, the husband of Myrrh, killed and taken his wife for his own wife. So this is what Herod did. He killed, or had Jacob, the father of Joseph, the husband of Myrrh, killed, and then he took his wife. Okay, so let's have a look at the next footnote. And when he had gathered all the Kohanim and the experts in the Torah, okay, let's have a look at this word Torah. So these were scribes who were Pharisees and Sadducees, who copied down the text of the Torah and the prophets to pass down to other generations. The scribes here were like lawyers who were experts in the Torah of Moses. Okay, let's have a look at the next footnote, which is verse 7. Then Herodes, when he had privately called the rabbis, inquired of them diligently, what time did the star appear? So let's have a look at this. The rabbim, these were magi, or wise men, that came to give gifts to the coming king. And it's believed that there were 12 of them, representing each of the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, so it wasn't 3 wise men, as we were taught in school. It was actually more than likely 12, from the 12 tribes, or representing the 12 tribes of Israel. So let's go to the next footnote, which is verse 11. And when they had come into the house, they saw the young child with Miriam, his mother, and fell down and paid homage to him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented to him gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. So let's have a look at this word myrrh. Myrrh represents the sign of the anointed one. Gold was shown to be the sign of a king. Frankincense was used in every sacrifice. So that's a little more understanding there of the gold, the frankincense and the myrrh. Now let's have a look at the next footnote, which is verse 15. And was there until the death of Herodes, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of by Yahweh through the prophet, saying, out of Mitzrayim, Egypt, have I called my son. So let's have a look at this word son. We have a footnote here. It says, Israel came out of Egypt and is called the son of Yahweh. So we have a footnote there for Exodus 4:22. Here, this is referred to the Messiah, Yahushua, the eternal son of Abba Yahweh. So if you want to have a look at Exodus 4:22, in fact, let's have a look at it now. Let's just have a read of Exodus 4:22. So Exodus 4:22. Let's read 22. Then you shall say to Pharaoh, thus says Yahweh, Israel is my son, my Bekor, my firstborn. 23. And I say to you, let my son go, that he may serve me. And if you refuse to let him go, indeed, I will kill your son, your Bekor, firstborn. So there you have it. So Israel is the son of Yahweh. So make no mistake. Now let's go to the next footnote. Which is verse 16. Then Herodes, when he saw that he was tricked by the wise men, was greatly angered, and sent forth and killed all the children that were in Bethlehem, house of bread, and in all the surrounding regions, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the Rabbim. So let's look at this word Rabbim. The men from the east. So that's what we have there, men from the east. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is verse 18. In Rama were there a voice heard weeping, and loud wailing, and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children. So let's have a look at this word weeping. So here we have for the footnote Jeremiah 31:15. So let's have a look at Jeremiah 31:15 quickly and see what we can ascertain from Jeremiah 31:15. Jeremiah. Thus says Yahweh, a voice was heard in Rama, lamentation and bitter weeping, Rachel weeping for her children, and she refused to be comforted for her children, because they were no more. So we've got a footnote here which says, this also reveals another truth, that Rachel gave birth to Joseph, the black lad who pictures the Christian nations in Africa. Joseph's sons being a picture of the 10 tribes. These were taken into the Assyrian captivity. So we also see Rachel weeping, where are my children? Why have they not returned? It's a picture of the past, the present, and the future. Okay? So we see many of Rachel's children being lost in other religions, and especially Christianity, where they've taken on the religion of Christianity and have forsaken their power, Yahweh. So let's go to the next footnote. So 23, and he came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophets. So this were the prophets, Isaiah the prophet. In the Aramaic and in the Hebrew Gospel, it is prophet in the singular. Isaiah the prophet. In the Aramaic and in the Hebrew Gospel, it is prophet in the singular. He shall be called a Netzari. So the branch was a title of the future Messiah in Isaiah 11:1. Here fitted to Yahushua. So let's have a look at Isaiah 11:1 quickly. Let's see what we can get. Isaiah 11:1. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. So we have a footnote here for branch. The branch, the title to the future king and Messiah. This is Yahushua. Okay, so there we have it. So a Netzari is the branch, the king, the title, Melech Yahushua, the Messiah. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the footnotes for chapter 2. So I say thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the other side. May you find rest and comfort for your souls. Thank you for watching. Shalom, shalom.